Welcome back, everybody. The second hour. Wednesday, April 16th, 2014. We're talking to Pat about bone stuff and arthritic stuff. Pat, are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So phytates are an interesting thing to talk about, but in addition to phytates, right, there's two things that we recommend people do. Number one, you have to stop all 10 bad foods, which includes wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And then
right, I've stopped that. I really didn't eat much of any bread and oatmeal or anything like that.
All right, and the pasta as well. You've eliminated pasta, cookies, crackers, and stuff like that?
Now, I did eat a couple of little cookies, a few cookies.
Okay, well, you can get gluten-free cookies, and that's what you need to do because a little bit of that stuff, even a little bit, is really going to hurt you over time. So it's best if you're going to ride that horse, to ride it all the way.
Okay.
Now, phytates bind to minerals. Now, the gluten, right, the gluten is bad for you because it hurts your intestinal tract. It damages your intestinal tract. Phytates don't damage anything, but phytates will stick to the minerals that you've just swallowed and disallow them from being absorbed into the body. So
right.
This is why when we do a calcium supplement or a selenium or a mineral supplement that you don't take it within a couple of hours of eating a phytate. So it's regretful, right, because the almond stuff that you were doing and everything else that you thought was healthy was interfering with the absorption of this stuff into your body. So the recommendation is, if you're going to eat that stuff, to have your mineral supplement an hour before you eat anything that has a phytate in it, or 2 hours after you've eaten anything that has a phytate in it. And if you can dial that in, things will be better for you. Now, tomorrow night, Pat, I'm having a redo of my bone and joint health webinar. I'm rolling the bone and joint health webinar out again.
Okay.
It's the second iteration. It's kind of for insiders and their guests only tomorrow night. So go to my website, check out the insider button. It's going to be a great webinar. We're expecting over 300 people tomorrow night from all over the world. You have to be an insider to gain access to it. So check it out. There's going to be tons of information that you'll find that can really help you. FireYourMDNow.com. Click on the Become an Insider button. And, in the meantime, check out the liquid glucogel. Mess around with that for 4 weeks or double the amount of calcium that you're taking every day and see if you experience more bang for your therapeutic buck. I think you're going to love how you feel.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll do that.
All right, Pat, you're the greatest. I appreciate you very much. The Great White North is calling, ladies and gentlemen. Al from Alberta is giving us a ring. Hey, Al, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I recently ordered the Ultimate EFA Plus from Youngevity, and I find when I take it, I'm just taking one a day, and it gives me very severe heartburn. I get that fish taste in my mouth for hours after.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's a good question, Al, and I'll answer it. But really, a better, more important question is, why are the Calgary Flames so bad? Why are they so bad this year?
I don't know. They say they're rebuilding, so they might be better next year.
I don't know if you've ever... I'm kind of like a half of a sports fan. I'm not nearly as into it now as I used to be when I was a kid. But, I swear to God, every time they interview a sports guy, and I don't care if he's football, basketball, hockey, I don't care if he's a curling guy, right? They all say the same thing every time. Oh, I couldn't do it without all my teammates, and we're really up for this, we're really up for this, and it's a team thing, and we're in a rebuilding phase, and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, it's like they're reading from cards, and it's nonsense, but I digress. So what you want to do with the EFAs is have them with a meal. If you have that stuff on an empty stomach, or even I've found if you have it at the end of a meal, it's not so great. So what I do with the EFAs is I'll eat, half of my breakfast, and then I'll swallow my EFAs. Or I'll eat half of my lunch, and then I'll swallow the EFAs, and then I'll finish the lunch. If you take it in the middle of a meal, it tends to have that problem that you've just experienced is eliminated. Have you done that yet?
No, but I'll try that.
Yeah, that's a good workaround. Now, you want to be careful here because another thing that shouldn't be happening, the fishy taste of burp back, that's a normal thing, but the heartburn thing is a little unusual. And so what you want to do, if you're experiencing any heartburn for any reason whatsoever, is to start adding a little more salt to your food. Start using salt. Don't be afraid of salt. Salt your food so that it tastes good, and get into the habit, if you're not already, of using salt. And then as an experiment, for 7 days in a row, I would also double the amount of calcium that I'm taking. I would double the amount of calcium that I'm taking and see if those two things don't increase your body's ability to digest, because you shouldn't have any heartburn whatsoever.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
All right, Albert, you're the greatest. I appreciate your phone call. I love the province of Alberta. Real, hard-working, down-to-earth, pragmatic, results-oriented folks. They're not experiencing a recession. They've got money. Disposable income that they can use for nutritional supplements. And I got to tell you something. Once you get an Albertan into the light of medical nutrition, everybody in their family, everybody in their church, everybody in their community is going to know about it. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you open your mouth and tell people about it? It's a fantastic community to work with, even though the Flames, they're not that great. At least not this year. They must be rebuilding. Let's go and talk to Terry in Virginia, see what he's up to. Hey, Terry, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Dr. Glidden.
Come on in, Terry. I missed you in the first hour. Now you're back.
Yeah, I've been holding on. I want to ask you 3 or 4 questions if you got time real quick. The one about my liver and detoxing and mercury fillings and cow toddy.
All right.
I've been having this white hue in the whites of my eyes. It's like they won't clear up, when I put eye drops in them. And the doctor told me in 2006 that I had permanent liver damage, but the technician said it was a fatty liver. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think if you registered as a Republican, it'll all go away.
Oh, okay. So I don't need to worry about what that doctor said.
Well, it might be a liver thing, and it's kind of a little yellowish cast that you have there, a little yellowish cast. Is that right?
Yeah, my eyes used to, I'd put eye drops in and it'd get real white, the whites of the eyes.
Yeah, all right. So do you have a juicer?
Detox.
Do you have a juicer?
Yeah, well, I have one of those little old NutriBullet things.
I don't know what that is, but you can make fresh squeezed beet juice with it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's what I want you to do. What's your current body weight?
150.
150? All right. This is a 4-week program. The first week, I want you to drink 1 ounce of beet juice a day. Second week, 2 ounces. Third week, 3 ounces. Fourth week, 4 ounces of beet juice a day, all at once. Now, the problem with this strategy is you can't make, a gallon of beet juice and just keep it in the fridge. You have to drink it within 30 minutes of making it. Now, you can add to that 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 3 ounce, 4 ounces of fresh squeezed beet juice, anything else that you want to make it taste better.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorites, might not be your favorite, but I would advise you to try this because it tastes pretty great, is green apple, Granny Smith apple, big fat carrot, and is the biggest and fattest carrot you can find because they taste better than the little skinny carrots. Green apple, carrot, and beet juice. So if you add a little fresh squeezed carrot juice, a little fresh squeezed green apple juice to the beet, delicious. Drink it all down. 1 ounce a day for the first week, 2 ounces for the second, so forth and so on. Now, that's a most excellent liver-supporting program, most excellent. The only problem here, Terry, is it's going to make your pee turn red and it's going to make your stool turn red. So you'll think you're bleeding, right? And you'll rush to the hospital and you think that you're having a bleeding episode. You're not. that's expected and anticipated. That's a really good way to support liver function over time. And the only other thing that you can do that would be sufficient to that cause is in the same 4-week period, at 150 pounds, I would take 9 selenium a day, and I would do a 6 prohobahepol a day. 6 prohobahepol, H-E-P like Peter, O-L. 6 of those a day and 9 selenium a day, plus the beet juice deal. That's a really good way to support and promote a healthy liver. And if the liver juice, the beet juice for the liver, if a particular dosage makes you feel lightheaded or funny, then you want to back off to the last dose. So if you get to 3 ounces a day and you're starting to feel funny, then kick it back to 2 ounces a day, okay?
Okay.
Because it might. And if you were to just drink 8 ounces of fresh squeezed beet juice right now, you'd probably pass out because you wouldn't be able to handle it. Because it really does stimulate your liver in a good way. But you can do anything, too much of anything, right? We don't want to scrub the pot so hard that we break it. And this is why we kind of ramp up and stop after the 4th week, stop after the 28th day. Call me back and let me know how you feel. That's what I would do to support a healthy liver. And that's a good thing. By the way, folks, that's a good thing for anybody to do once a year. Springtime or summer is best. Springtime or summer is best. This is a really good thing for anybody to do. Beet juice in ascending doses for 28 days in a row. Coming up against a hard break, Terry. Stick with me. I'll do my best at addressing your other concerns. I appreciate everything you're doing in the great state of Virginia. Stick around, folks. More to come. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you learned something today. Because God only knows. There's a lot. There's a lot to know, and we're not taught any of this stuff in school. Your medical doctor's clueless about it. And, just a little bit of this knowledge goes a long, long, long way, which is why I encourage you to tell everybody in your life about this radio show. And look, if people are working and they can't listen to it live, they can listen to the podcast 24/7, right? So there's a will, there's a way. We have a way. I need you to bring your will to bear and help us spread our message. We're talking to Terry in Virginia. 3 things. We knocked off one of them. What are the other 2, Terry? What's next?
Mercury fillings. I've got some mercury fillings, and most of them was done back in the early 80s. And one of them is a molar that's nothing but a filling. And I've been getting some grit and crunchiness in my mouth from time to time over the past few years. And I'm wondering if it feels like it's broke off some in the back, but it's not sharp.
Well, mercury, there's a lot of internet chatter about this. There's a lot of nonsense about this. But if you've had a mercury filling in your mouth for more than, and I forget the number, I'm going to say 5 years, it's probably not even that long, then all the mercury is gone. It's not a problem anymore. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. I would get it drilled out and get a new thing put in there. Now, it would be prudent, perhaps, if you're going to get an amalgam filling drilled out of your mouth, to go to a dentist, an environmental dentist. You want to find a dentist who's schooled in environmental dentistry, because they have equipment there that uses a little vacuum that they attach to the end of the drill that vacuums up any vapors that escape from the tooth when they're drilling it, because, they drill it, they vaporize it. So if there's any mercury that's still present in the filling, which is dubious at best, it's going to be vaporized, and vaporized mercury is extremely nasty. So they have ways to vacuum up everything that gets vaporized, and it goes into a little HEPA filter, and nobody's exposed to it. So if you have amalgam fillings you want to get rid of, find a dentist who's schooled in environmental medicine, because they have the equipment to get that stuff out of your body. The biggest problem here is, you want the tooth to be sound, and the stuff that they use to keep the tooth intact, 20 years ago, is archaic. And the new stuff that they have is 1,000,000 times better, and it's going to be able to secure the structure and foundation of the tooth way better than the amalgam stuff did. So just for longevity's sake, it's not a bad idea to get that stuff removed.
Okay, well, there's one of those dentists in Lynchburg, so maybe I'll check him out.
All right. I'm sitting down, Terry. Give me number 3.
Well, now, I was having a problem with insomnia, and, I went up on the Osteo FX to 4 tablespoons a day, and then I also heard you talking about the cow toddy, and had a little bit more magnesium in it. And so I just thought I would try switching it, and I've been sleeping like a rock ever since I went on it, 6 to 8 hours a night.
Gotta love it. All right, you gotta love it, right? How long before that in your life were you troubled with insomnia?
I've been having problems with insomnia since Bill Clinton went into office.
Well, you're not alone there. For goodness sake.
I was a third shifter for a year and a half, and then I was a second shifter, and then they put me back on first. Mm-hmm. But I never could, straighten out after that.
But now you have, since you switched from the regular calcium to the Cal-Toddy?
Yeah, I put that eye patch on, like you said. I kicked the dogs out. Just did that for one night, and then they've been back in there again, but they haven't been waking me up because I'm just, sleeping really sound. You
got to love it. Now, here's what will happen. Once your body gets into that rhythm for 21 days, it kind of develops a life of its own, and you kind of get on board the sleep train, and you get in sync with your body's rhythms. However, I would continue the calcium dose before bed. I wouldn't stop that for 3 months. So I would keep doing that the way that you're doing it now for 3 months. Then you may be able to scale it back to 1 ounce before bed or whatever, and the calcium dose appropriate for your body weight every day. Give it 3 more months, though, 90 days total, to kind of lock it in. And I got to tell you something, it's really awesome to be able to sleep through the night. That's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. How many people do you think would give up their firstborn child to be able to just sleep through the night? You know how important that is for people? And let me tell you, there's a gigantic difference between having a natural, healthy sleep and a narcotic, drug-induced, hypnotic sleep. Because that's what Lunesta does. That's what the drugs, the sleep meds that the MDs roll out, they're hypnotic drugs. They're psychoactive meds. I mean, it's like taking LSD to go to sleep. You got to be kidding me. But, people don't know any better. And they got to sleep. It's horrible not to sleep. I mean, it is. I hate not getting enough sleep. In my misspent youth, I was a commercial fisherman for, I think, 12 of the worst days of my life. Whew, boy, I got some stories to tell. 8 hours on, 8 hours off, 8 hours on, 8 hours off. It's bad, man. After the third day, you're a zombie. But, notwithstanding extreme examples like that, just if you don't have the right nutrition in your body, your sleep cycle is going to be messed up. It's only a matter of time until it's messed up. And then people just think, oh, well, that's normal, right? They get used to it. And then they get so fed up with it that they'll start doing NyQuil. Oh, I can't sleep unless I have my NyQuil. Or they'll have 3 beers. Can't sleep unless they, drug themselves into a coma, right? Or whatever. They'll try prescription meds. I mean, they got to sleep. People got to sleep. And I don't blame them for wanting to, to ride that horse because it's necessary. But you could have a multi-million-dollar longevity business just by helping people sleep naturally and normally. We don't use sedatives. We help people secure natural sleep. which is $1 million idea, $1 million proposition. Forget rheumatoid arthritis, forget osteoarthritis, forget weight gain, forget obesity, forget heartburn, forget blood sugar issues, type 1, type 2 diabetes, forget that, forget fibromyalgia, forget chronic fatigue. Just to be able to help your church members sleep through the night naturally? Oh, my God. You know what? If you did that, if you're able to do that, and you are able to do that with longevity, people will be so grateful, they will build a statue to you in your town. They will. You help 1,000 people to sleep through the night, you're going to be legendary. You will be. These are the simple things we can do with longevity. We can do very complicated things as well, but we don't want to overlook the obvious, right? We don't want to overlook the obvious. Help people to secure sleep. How do we do that? Stop eating the 10 bad foods. Take the 90 essential nutrients appropriate for body weight every day, and do a little extra calcium immediately before bed. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's go to Doug in Connecticut and talk about one of my favorite subjects, Lyme disease. Hey, Doug, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
The Yes Man.
What's up, man?
Dr. Glidden, you met my daughter in New Hampshire. She's a little redhead with Hashimoto's.
Oh, yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, and she thinks that she's developed Lyme disease. She doesn't know when she got bit, but she's had muscle aches and headaches, and I've been trying to cure the headaches, but, you know, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah.
And she had the Western blot test.
Yeah.
And I have it sitting in front of me. I don't know. I listened to one of your webinars, and, you know, it's iffy if it's, you know.
All right, so here's the deal, and I'm going to reiterate this for the listening audience, okay? By the way, folks, I did a really good webinar on Lyme disease. I have a lot of experience with Lyme disease. I grew up in New England where, you know, Lyme disease came from. It'll be the best.
5 miles from there.
You live 5 miles from Plum Island? Oh, jeez. Or from Lyme, Connecticut? Yeah, oh, great. Oh, man. So, in any event, for the listening audience, it'll be the best $20 you've ever spent. If you think you're suffering from Lyme disease, or someone in your family thinks they're suffering with Lyme disease, to become an insider at my website just for 1 month, because you can cancel at any time, but you're not going to want to once you become a subscriber. But for $20, you can have access to 100 hours of archived health webinars that I've done, one of which was about Lyme disease. So check it out right there at fireyourmdnow.com. Now, we believe that Lyme disease was created at a government research facility on Plum Island that was doing research in the 70s with tick-borne diseases. We believe that they created Lyme disease, then that it escaped from the facility, and then they wanted to cover up their tracks. So, about 2 years after the first case of Lyme disease was diagnosed in Lyme, Connecticut, Lyme disease started springing up everywhere, mostly in New England. Then, of course, it went to Michigan, then it went everywhere after that. It's a remarkable thing historically. But in order to cover their tracks, the Center for Disease Control, and it was the CDC? Yeah, it was the CDC, made it illegal to test for the only tests that tested positive definitively for Lyme disease. Now, the Western blot test that Doug is referring to, it's kind of like if you look at a piece of paper, there will be maybe 20 different lines across the piece of paper, and each of the lines has different, it's kind of like, what's the word? It looks kind of like one of those old, you know, when they had those pianos that played themselves, right? A self-player piano, and you took the case, the cover off of it, and you looked inside, and you see the little scroll, and the scroll's got all these dots in it, right? Which, you know, make the keys go a certain way. Well, that's kind of what a Western blot test looks like. And two of the lines that go across the Western blot, which were definitive for Lyme disease, the Center for Disease Control outlawed. So the only test which is definitive drop-dead definitive for the presence of Lyme disease in somebody's body, you can't test for. You can't you test for every other test, but not for that test, which is criminal. But, you know, when you're the king, you can cut off anybody's head and you get a pass. So that's kind of a bad way of saying, and I explained this better in the webinar, that it is impossible to know with objective laboratory discovery, impossible to know whether you really have Lyme disease or not. You can't tell by the lab test. The lab test is irrelevant. Because you could be bitten by the tick. You could have captured the tick. You could crush the tick into, you know, a liquid. Look at the liquid under a microscope and see the Lyme spirochetes swimming around. You know that the tick had the spirochetes in them. The tick, you were bitten by that tick, and then you develop all the classic signs and symptoms of Lyme disease. You get the bullseye rash, you get the fever, you get the chills, you get the joint pain. And you have your blood tested with this stupid test that they okay now, and you're negative. Negative. You've got all the signs and symptoms, you've got the tick, you're negative. You could also have been bitten by a tick 20 years ago, be completely symptom-free now, have the test, and test positive. It is a ridiculous waste of money, the testing that they allow now for Lyme disease. But because medical doctors are intellectual cowards, and because everybody forgets anything that happened more than 2 months ago, nobody knows this, and everybody needs to know it. So, you know, that's really a long-winded way, Doug, of saying maybe she's got Lyme, maybe she doesn't. I don't know, man. Did she have a bullseye rash, and did she find a little tiny tick on her body?
She don't remember. I just got bit one by the other day, and I have a bullseye rash. But, you know, we're healthy people, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Even before the Hashimoto's, she had the Gardasil vaccine, and then that's when all that stuff happened.
Well, so where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So exactly. Now, the one thing that I do recommend, and really in a perfect world, you know, if this was a perfect world and we really did good medical research that wasn't profit-driven and driven by the pharmaceutical industry, there's a herb. It's called a Dipsacus sylvestris is the Latin name. The common name is teasel. T like Thomas, E-A-S like Sam, E-L. Teasel root. We believe that teasel root, the alcoholic extract tincture of teasel root, kills the spirochete. We believe that it is specific killer for the spirochete. So, you know, if you just got bit by the tick, what I would do is I would get some teasel root, and I would do 9 drops orally 3 times a day for 4 weeks. I do 9 drops orally 3 times a day for 4 weeks. I'd also put some on the skin, 2, 3, 4 drops of it right on the skin at the infestation site 3 or 4 times a day. There's no harm and no foul in doing that because it can't hurt you, and it might just, you know, intervene rapidly on your behalf. If your daughter really thinks that this is a problem for her, just have her add the teasel root into her program. And of course, it never hurts to generically stimulate your immune system. And when you think or know you've been infected with something, and we do that with the killer biotic, right?
Yeah. So
the killer biotic's a good thing to add for. I wouldn't do that for more than 4 weeks, though. And also the teasel root, I wouldn't do that for more than 4 weeks. But that's kind of like a good little insurance policy just in case. And, you know, I mean, who knows? She might really have it, and she might get lucky and feel better. But, you know, everybody's shooting in the dark.
I haven't taken the killer biotic myself, so shouldn't take it more than 4 weeks.
I wouldn't take the killer biotic more than 4 weeks in a row unless you have rheumatoid arthritis, yeah.
Okay.
Now, but, you know, get some teasel root because why not? You know, it's like never fail fudge, man. Stuff can't hurt you, and you might just get lucky, right?
Right.
But it's I have to tell you, I really don't understand why there hasn't been more outrage in conventional medical circles, because this is just an academic fact that the only bands that are definitive for Lyme disease on the Western blot test were outlawed by the Center for Disease Control. Why the hell would they do that? And, you know, why aren't physicians who've taken the Hippocratic Oath and who are supposed to be having your back when it comes to all things medical, why haven't they, lobbied the Center for Disease Control? Why aren't lawyers all around the country suing the Center for Disease Control?
Yeah.
Because it's
all tied together.
It's an out-of-control juggernaut, and we suffer because of it. And I appreciate you, Doug. Keep up the good work. Let me know how it goes in the great state of Connecticut, where, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, naturopathic medicine has been licensed and regulated for over 30 years. How about that? That's right. Naturopathic medicine is licensed and regulated in the state of Connecticut. If you live in Connecticut, you can go see a naturopathic physician and have your insurance pay for the visit. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. That also happens in Vermont. It also happens in New Hampshire. It also happens in Maine and Connecticut. Hasn't happened in Massachusetts yet. Hasn't happened in Rhode Island. Those are the only two holdouts. Massachusetts, of course, that's where the great Harvard University is. A lot of, connections between Harvard and the pharmaceutical industry. We had a naturopathic bill that got all the way to Governor Dan Patrick's desk in 2013. The legislature was okay with it. Everybody signed off on it. Everybody was good, but the great governor of the great state of Massachusetts, Dan Patrick, refused to sign the bill. God only knows what he was smoking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. The hits just keep on a-coming. Marjorie in California is up next. Stick around. That testimonial we had from Lindsay still has my head spinning around. I forget things like this, and it's good for me to remember the remarkable stuff. Quite frankly, we have so many remarkable things that, they're all kind of melding into one in my mind. But it's pretty cool, right? I mean, the kid was on how many meds? A lot. Now she's on half of one. She had 30 seizures a day. She doesn't have any now. And plus, no more blood sugar issues, no more concentration issues, no more bipolar. But she's a normal kid. She's not shy. She's not introverted anymore. She's just a normal kid. She's got a normal life. Her whole life is ahead of her. Imagine how it would have been if she hadn't found us. Now, that's cool, right? That's pretty awesome. And you can do that. But if you're intimidated by that, and then just help people in your life get a good night's sleep. For goodness sake, the stuff you can do is beyond your imagination. So get out there and just start showing people the light. Let's go to California, finish out today's show with Marjorie in California. Hey, Marjorie, you are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
I got a couple of issues for you. I don't know if you can handle both, but one, I've got a lady, she's not on her products yet. She's been bleeding from her rectum for a long time now. It's been an ongoing thing, and in less than 1 year, she's had 6 colonoscopies and 6 blood transfusions. She has to constantly get blood transfusion because she's always bleeding, and the doctors have told her that she has an ulcer. But they're not really doing anything. She just got out of the hospital a few days ago for the same problem because she was feeling so sick. Her stomach's hurting her all the time. And
well, where there's all right, I get it. Yeah, it's horrible, right? So again, aren't the MDs great at what they do? They've got no idea whatsoever what's causing it. But what are they going to do? They're just going to medicate it and medicate it and medicate it and medicate it and put her in the hospital and jack up the bill, and they're never ever going to get to the root of it.
Exactly. And she's so tired of feeling sick, and she's tired of everything,
Well, I would be too, wouldn't you?
She just wants answers, and she wants to get well.
All right, so the most common... All right, yeah, right. So the most common cause of a bleed anywhere is not enough calcium. Because there's something called the clotting cascade that has to happen in the body for your blood to clot appropriately. When your blood doesn't clot appropriately, when you're bleeding too much, often it's a simple calcium deficiency. So she needs to take calcium... appropriate for body weight, plus 2 extra bottles a month. So the best way to get the calcium is in concert with the Healthy Start Pack. So my recommendation for her one original Healthy Start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus one extra bottle of Beyond OsteoFX a month. Now, we need not overlook the obvious. This is happening in her digestive tract, right? The rectum is the terminal end of the digestive tract. It's still the digestive tract. So okay. I'm going to amend my recommendation. Give her one Healthy Digestion pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus one extra bottle of Beyond OsteoFX liquid. And she must eliminate the 10 bad foods. If she can't stop eating the 10 bad foods, this will not work. So clean up her diet, give her the digestion pack, extra calcium, keep your fingers crossed, and see what happens. And we've got a minute left, Marjorie, so who's next?
Okay, so when you say one original and one healthy digestion, that means she'll get 2 BTTs?
No, I'm sorry. So it's the original Healthy Digestion formula. Not the 2.0, because the original one has the liquid calcium in it, and that's what I want her to take. I don't want her to have the powdered calcium. I want her to take the liquid calcium, and the easiest way to get that is just to order the original Healthy Digestion pack.
So one original Healthy Digestion and an extra Beyond Osteo.
Correctamundo. Plus, she has to eliminate the 10 bad foods. Yep. Sorry, kiddo, we're all out of time. I appreciate you. I can take the second question tomorrow if you want to call back. I'll look forward to that. Ladies and gentlemen, the next live event is this radio show tomorrow afternoon, where it's Metaphysical Thursday, and I am interviewing someone who's going to knock your socks off. He is the world's leading expert on yoga and meditation, and we're going to talk about his understanding of the relationship between the soul, the spirit, and the human body. Oh, my God, I can't wait. God willing, and the creek don't rise. See you then.